The Lacedaemonian warrior stood, a silhouette against the rising Peloponnesian sun. His bronze helmet gleamed, but beneath it dark, often meticulously styled hair cascaded. This coiffure was not a matter of vanity, but a cultural imperative, a stark contrast to the harsh realities of campaigning. Maintaining such a system of appearance in the rugged Spartan landscape presented a unique mechanical challenge. Consider the operational paradox: a soldier, immersed in the physical rigors of constant training and warfare, yet expected to present a specific, often elaborate, tonsorial standard. Dirt, sweat, insects, and the absence of modern hygiene products conspired against this ideal. The question arises, how did this complex biological system, the Spartans' long hair, remain an emblem of discipline rather than a vector for disease or disarray? The primary infrastructural component for Spartan hygiene was the natural environment itself. The Eurotas River, a constant feature of Laconia, provided an abundant, if cold, water source. Its flowing currents offered the most fundamental cleansing mechanism: simple rinsing. This was the baseline for any attempt to remove accumulated grime from the hair and scalp. Beyond water, the Spartan soldier utilized available natural abrasives and absorbents. Fine river sand, when rubbed into the hair, could act as a rudimentary exfoliator and cleanser, removing loose dirt and absorbing oils. Wood ash, a byproduct of campfires, contained lye, offering a more potent, though harsh, cleansing agent when mixed with water. These were the earliest forms of shampoo in the field. For conditioning and scent, olive oil served a dual purpose. Applied sparingly, it provided a protective layer, reducing friction and breakage, while also imparting a subtle fragrance. This oil, a staple of the Mediterranean diet, was readily available and understood for its emollient properties, contributing to the hair's overall manageability and appearance. The mechanical management of long hair involved systematic practices. Braiding was not merely aesthetic, it was a practical method to prevent tangling, reduce snagging on equipment, and minimize exposure to dirt. The hair, once braided, became a more compact, resilient system, less prone to environmental degradation during maneuvers or sleep. The cultural significance of long hair among Spartans cannot be overstated. It was a visual marker of their identity, a symbol of freedom and status. As the Thermopylae campaign approached, Herodotus recounts Spartan soldiers meticulously combing their hair, not out of fear, but as a ritualistic preparation, a final act of disciplined presentation before combat. The institutional framework of the Agoge, the Spartan training regimen, extended its disciplinary reach to personal presentation. From a young age, boys were indoctrinated into a communal lifestyle where individual appearance was subject to collective scrutiny. This inherent social pressure ensured compliance with prescribed standards, including hair length and perceived cleanliness, even in challenging environments. Within the Agoge, communal living spaces facilitated rudimentary grooming. The concept of squalor was antithetical to Spartan ideals of order. Older boys, acting as supervisors, enforced standards. The routine of bathing in the Eurotas, while primarily for general hygiene, also served as the primary mechanism for washing hair. This was a collective activity reinforcing shared standards. The Syssitia, the communal dining groups, further reinforced this social policing. As men shared meals, their appearance was constantly on display. A disheveled or unkempt individual would stand out, implicitly shamed by the group's expectation of order. This peer-enforced conformity acted as a powerful, non-hierarchical mechanism for maintaining personal standards, including hair care. Tools for hair maintenance, though simple, were essential. A comb, typically made of wood or bone, was a personal item carried by the warrior. Its function was not merely aesthetic but practical, to untangle and distribute natural oils, preventing matting. Regular combing was a small but vital ritual in the soldier's daily ablutions, maintaining the structural integrity of the long hair. The long hair itself, especially when well maintained, offered a degree of protection. When braided or tied, it could act as a mild buffer against environmental elements or minor impacts. Its visual effect, flowing from beneath the helmet, was also intended to make the Spartan warrior appear more formidable and imposing to the enemy, a psychological component of warfare. Unlike some contemporary armies who favored short hair for practicality, the Spartan commitment to long hair was unwavering. This distinctive appearance set them apart, a visual affirmation of their unique social and military system. It was a conscious choice that mandated specific discipline practices to overcome the practical difficulties it presented in the field. The contrast with Athenian practices is illustrative. Athenian soldiers often maintained shorter hair for ease of management and perceived practicality during campaigns. The Spartan adherence to long hair, requiring more meticulous and communal effort, highlighted their distinct cultural values and their emphasis on visible adherence to traditional forms, even amidst hardship. The daily grooming ritual was a small, consistent act of defiance against the chaos of warfare. Each morning, or during periods of respite, the Spartan warrior engaged in a systematic process. This involved untangling with a comb, rinsing with water when available, and the careful application of oil. This routine instilled a sense of order and control, a psychological anchor amidst unpredictability. Within the military units, the elder warriors or commanders held the responsibility for maintaining discipline across all facets of a soldier's life, including appearance. Inspections, while perhaps not daily for hair specifically, ensured that the collective standard was upheld. A poorly maintained coiffure could be interpreted as a lapse in discipline, reflecting poorly on the entire unit. Before battle, the act of combing and styling hair became a solemn, almost sacred preparation. It was a conscious choice to present an imposing, dignified front, not just to the enemy, but also to oneself. This ritual served to calm the mind, focus intent, and reaffirm identity as a homoios, a peer ready for the ultimate test. The flowing hair was part of this warrior persona. This emphasis on physical presentation underscored the Spartan belief in a holistic approach to soldiery. The body was a finely tuned machine, and every component, even the hair, contributed to its operational readiness and psychological impact. Cleanliness and order were manifestations of internal discipline, reflecting the strength of the Spartan system as a whole. However, this rigid adherence to tradition, while a source of strength, also introduced a vulnerability. The system for maintaining long, clean hair was predicated on stable conditions, access to water, basic materials, and a communal environment. Prolonged campaigns far from Laconia or under conditions of extreme deprivation severely tested this carefully managed system. Logistical strains emerged. Olive oil, while common, could become a precious commodity during extended expeditions into hostile or resource-scarce territories. The regular procurement of even simple wooden combs or the luxury of ample river water became challenging, forcing adaptations that often compromised the traditional standard of appearance. As the number of full Spartan citizens, the homoioi, began to decline through demographic shifts and battlefield attrition, the communal enforcement mechanisms weakened. Fewer peers meant less immediate social pressure. The meticulously maintained hair, once a widespread symbol, became harder to sustain for a smaller, more stretched military force, indicating early signs of systemic strain. The very rigidity that defined the Spartan system also became its undoing. The cultural imperative for long, well-kept hair was so deeply ingrained that adapting to logistical challenges proved difficult. Unlike other armies that might simply mandate shorter hair during difficult campaigns, the Spartan leadership clung to this tradition, often to the detriment of practicality. During extended military engagements far from the Eurotas, such as the Peloponnesian War, access to consistent water sources for bathing and hair washing became precarious. Soldiers endured periods where natural cleansing was impossible, and their once proud tresses would inevitably become matted, dirty, and prone to pests, a stark departure from the ideal. The idealized image of the meticulously groomed Spartan warrior thus diverged significantly from the battlefield reality in later centuries. While the ritual of combing before battle persisted, its practical execution became increasingly challenging, a symbol of a system struggling to maintain its form amidst changing circumstances. This degradation of personal appearance, though minor in strategic terms, subtly chipped away at the powerful psychological impact of the Spartan image. The once formidable sight of flowing, dark hair became harder to maintain consistently, reflecting the broader internal and external pressures eroding the Lacedaemonian state's dominance. The commitment to long hair, once a symbol of freedom and martial pride, ultimately illustrates the profound cost of an inflexible system. What began as a distinctive cultural practice upheld by meticulous discipline and communal enforcement, became a burden when the infrastructure and social cohesion supporting it began to falter. The long-haired Spartan, a potent emblem of an earlier age, gradually faded. The practical challenges, combined with the broader decline of Spartan power and shifts in military doctrine, meant that the unique tonsorial practice, so central to their identity, could not endure in its original rigorous form. It became a relic of a bygone martial excellence. The Spartans' long, clean hair was a mechanical system requiring constant input and maintenance. Its success was predicated on strict social engineering and environmental factors. When those supports weakened, the system, like any other, began to degrade, revealing the inherent fragility behind even the most ironclad traditions. Economic shifts further exacerbated the decline. The traditional Spartan system, reliant on a helot workforce and a largely agrarian economy, faced strains when prolonged military commitment strained resources. Commodities like olive oil, once plentiful for personal use, became strategically critical, potentially diverted or less accessible for routine grooming, contributing to the system's deterioration. The psychological impact of this deterioration was subtle but significant. When the visual emblem of discipline, the long, clean hair, became increasingly difficult to uphold, it challenged the internal narrative of Spartan excellence. The meticulous warrior, once perfectly presented, sometimes found himself battling not only external foes but also the internal struggle against unkempt appearance. By the late classical and Hellenistic periods, the strict observance of the long hair tradition waned significantly. Practicality began to supersede rigid cultural dictates. The long-haired Spartan became more a figure of historical memory than contemporary reality, illustrating a profound shift in priorities driven by the pressures of a changing geopolitical landscape. This detailed examination of Spartan hair care reveals a larger truth about mechanical systems. Their effectiveness is intrinsically tied to the stability of their supporting infrastructure and social environment. The Spartan dedication to an aesthetic standard, seemingly minor, was in fact a barometer for the health and resilience of their entire societal mechanism. The relentless pursuit of a singular ideal, even in areas like personal grooming, highlights the immense cost of Spartan excellence. Every aspect of life was engineered to serve the military state, demanding rigid adherence to tradition. This systemic inflexibility, while a source of formidable power, ultimately limited its capacity for adaptation. The story of the Spartans' hair is a microcosm of their civilization. It demonstrates how a simple biological feature was transformed into a complex cultural artifact, managed by an intricate system of natural resources, communal pressure, and disciplined ritual. Its eventual decline mirrors the broader trajectory of the Spartan state itself. The Spartan soldier's hair, an icon of defiance and discipline, raises a final compelling question. What seemingly minor elements in our own complex systems today might similarly conceal critical indicators of their ultimate strength or fragility?